Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats, for the show is about to begin. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Vobes show with, this time on the 31st of January 2020, the wonderful Richard Suggett from the Veg Grower podcast. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Richard, and hello, everyone else.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can see us, hope you can hear us, I hope you can smell us.
Oh,
well, I can smell something in the studio, Richard.
Yes.
I think it might be the coffee. Cheers.
Would be.
You've got your Veg Grower podcast
I
cup.
have.
And I've got a roundel cup. Roundel.
Oh, that's a good cup of coffee.
Is that a nice cup of coffee?
It's a lovely cup of coffee.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, just making sure that you can see us and hear us. There's lots of people out there. We have now. You know how the form goes. Can you let us know who is actually out there?
We have Laura Riddle, David Stacey, Andrew Norris, Peter May, Jada Jones, Stephen Blakely, Fiona Cooper, Mickey Stevens, Sonny Jim, Jonathan Beluzic, Fiona Cooper, Marriott Genealogy, Nigel Sadler, David Keel, and that's it so far.
I'm just doing that so people don't see. I'm just slightly adjusting the camera a bit.
Oh, you got in the way. You got in the way of that.
But I got in the way anyway. But yeah. I just wanted to level that all up. So there we go. That's marvellous. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is an auspicious day today because it's the end of the month, and that means that we will be changing the calendar, which is behind us here, in the next show. It's all very exciting.
All very exciting.
But we can't do that in this show.
No.
Because it's still January, and tomorrow is February.
Yes.
Yes, just a lovely, ordinary day. Except, of course, there's been something going on in the country that people have been marking. Have you any idea what it is?
I have no idea at all.
Well, I thought it was Pancake Day, but apparently it's not Pancake.
Pancakes.
It's not Christmas Day.
That's a shame.
That's a shame, because I bought you a lovely Christmas present, but I'm not going to give it to you now.
Have to wait till Christmas Day.
You'll
then.
have to, yes, damn. Well, I've got a few days though.
Perhaps it's my birthday.
Yeah, is it your birthday?
No.
Oh, is it my birthday?
I don't know. Is it your birthday?
No. It is a day, though. It is a day. There's something happening an hour at the 11th hour. Ooh. At the 11th hour, you know, that's that we've been waiting for, apparently, and it's only at the 11th hour that it's been made possible, which is a bit of an irony, really. Yes, of course, it's Brexit Day, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this show is not going to rub stuff in and get people's noses out of joint. We're not aiming to do that. I did put a little video up to announce today's show, which was not really meant to say anything more than it's a celebration of Britain and the people that I've worked with and how wonderful they are. It's not anything against it, but a couple of people did take exception to it, and I've edited them out of this piece. But not only that, Facebook and YouTube said you can't play the music that was in the back, which was Rule Britannia. Which is a nice piece of music.
It is, yeah.
Very patriotic, and I can't see there's anything wrong with being patriotic.
Don't think there's anything wrong with that's easy for me to say.
What? Well, I don't know. Was it easy?
Nothing wrong with patriotism. No, I can't say it.
Can't say it. Patriotism.
That's it, yeah.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I just figured that it was nice to have a bit of patriotic music, but apparently we can't do that because it's copyright. So there we go. We've got lots of people out there guessing what we're waffling on about in tonight's show, so that's quite good. We've got Cynthia's camera saying hello all. The lovely Julia says suddenly to Richard on my... to Richards, I think she means, on my screen. Having keyboard issues again, says lovely Julie. Oh, that would it. Is it St. Crispin's Day?
I don't know when that is.
St. Crispin.
Is it?
It's Crispin Spry and Crispin Dry. No, that's an advert, isn't it? Laura Riddle says it's the end of the world. Apparently, is it the end of the world?
I hope not. I've got plans for tomorrow.
Yeah, we're all going on a walk. Are you going on the walk?
I'm not tomorrow, no.
Oh,
I'm afraid
no.
not.
I think there's not going to be very many people going on the walk because the weather isn't going to be great, but I shall be going on it. The temperature is in double figures all day and night in January, says Nigel, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Must be sunbathing later then.
It's all thumbs up to global warming.
I won't go that far.
Tanya Allison says, Cinderella, you will go to the ball. Yes, that's very nice. I've got my ball gowned. Oh, sorry, it's not gowned. It's gown, isn't it? Who says gowned? I've ever since a kid, I've always said ball gowned because gown is a word that feels like it should have a better stop on it. You know, at the end, ball gowned. But it isn't. It's ball gown. It's like noun. It doesn't quite. Anyway, I'm digging a hole.
You're correcting the English language
I
now.
am correcting the English language. Now, there's another smell in this studio, ladies and gentlemen. What is the smell that you've got? Is it you?
No, it's not me.
No.
Could it be this pan in front of us?
It is this pan. What do we do? The Veg Grower podcast, I should say, for those people that do not know, is a podcaster who grows veg. You couldn't get it more plain than that, could you?
Absolutely not.
And what veg have you grown for us today?
I have got...
Oh, yes.
Do you want to get on the other camera? A big bowl of marrow fat peas.
Marrow fat peas. What are marrow fat peas?
Basically, these are extra large peas that are used to make mushy peas.
Why are they called marrow fat?
It's just a variety.
Oh, it's just a
variety, yeah.
It's just a variety.
They're particularly good for drying, so...
That's a green variety, isn't it?
It is a green variety, yes.
Of peas.
Yes.
I've noticed that a lot of peas have that same sort of aura about them.
Well, I think there are other colours of peas out there.
Oh, are there?
There are probably some purple ones.
I'll keep my mouth shut then. Which, of course, would improve this show no end.
Yeah, we'll sit here in silence.
Yes, thanks. So what are you going to do with the peas? Are they ready to go?
These are... All they need to do is go into this pan of water, which you have here.
What that I've already prepared.
Already prepared.
As if I knew what was happening.
We just need to get that on and boiling.
This is an induction heater, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is complicated. You press this button here. Hang on, let's just show the lovely viewer. Okay. So it's got a number of these. That's at 1800 degrees or 18... I don't know what it is. I would turn that down a bit.
Yeah. I didn't quite realise just how noisy this is.
Yes, it is. It's a noisy one. We apologise for the noise, ladies and gentlemen. Hope the noise isn't too distracting, but it's only going on for 5 minutes? 20 minutes?
Well, 20 minutes to cook, but we might be able to fiddle around with it once it gets going.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You're an engineer, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. If you have a look by your feet, I was going to ask you this before the show started, but of course you came in more or less as the show started.
Yeah.
I've plugged it into there, which is a coiled spring. But because this is an induction thing, do you think that'll heat up? Will it be using a lot of watts, or is it less?
Possibly. I'll keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on it.
I wouldn't recommend it normally, but
No, I wouldn't.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Otherwise, it's about 50 metres or something. So there we go. Fiona Cooper says, I love mushy peas with fish and chips. Oh, that's
interesting.
Interesting. Mike G says, yes, all the classics. Yes, we want all the classics in here. Nigel Sadler says, hurrah, an induction hob rather than the lethal ancient gas ring. Obviously couldn't get any more gas. The truth is there, Nigel, that I did go to Bunce's to get the gas where I usually get it from. The building was empty. They had moved out. They didn't tell me. They've gone.
They're closed down. The one in Littlehampton has gone as well.
Have they gone bust?
I think so.
They shouldn't have left that building. They were just round the corner from me in the old days. And they shouldn't have left that building. They've been in there for about 100 years. And now there's another one. Bites the wall. If only they'd hung on till the 1st of Feb. But hey-ho. Marrow fat peas, says Mark G, are nice.
Yeah, they are.
I've had them tinned.
Yeah.
Is it the same as them tinned, or is there a difference to them?
It's pretty much the same as the tinned ones. These have been dried,
Yeah.
and then I've soaked them overnight.
So what does the soaking do?
It just gets them,
Softens them up.
Softens them up, and also makes them expand.
Right.
So they were much smaller before they went into the water.
Is that why they go fat? Marrow
That's why they've gone
fat?
fat, yeah.
Because when you soak them, they increase in size.
Yeah.
If you soak them for many days, will they turn to the size of a pumpkin?
No. Not quite that fat. They just need to get as fat as they were before they dried out.
They look disgusting, says David Stacey.
They probably do like that.
Hang on a minute, let's just have another look.
In this light, it probably doesn't look
They look
most
nice,
flattering.
they look lovely, don't they?
They look a bit like raw beans, in fairness. Like that.
Parched peas are better. Do you like parched peas?
I've never heard of parched peas.
Sonny Jim says that, and he's quite right. You know, parched peas are those peas that have been out in the sun and they're quite shriveled, and they're going, "Oh, I'm so thirsty, please." I don't know, actually. I've never had them myself, to be honest with him. Tanya says, I hope they're irregular shaped peas. Are they irregular? He grew them himself.
Yeah, I would say they're a bit irregular.
How much of this water do we want boiling, by the way?
I was about to say we're about ready to
put them in. Right. So we've got boiling hot water there.
What can go wrong?
What can go wrong in the studio? I haven't put any salt in the water.
I'll add some salt in a minute.
Okay.
There
Did you need more water?
No, that's just about right.
Marvellous. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, you didn't expect tonight to tune in on the Brexit show and see peas. But peas be peaceful.
I'm just going to turn the heat up a bit just to get that going again.
Righto. It will get going. Have no fear. And if it doesn't, I will. The lovely Julia says, "Wah, call the fire brigade." Jonathan Beluzic says, "People using electric products live on YouTube." Well, we normally use gas products, but I will source some more gas because I quite like the smell of the Bunsen burner. Linda Kane says Bunce's closed at least 2 years ago.
Could be as long as that.
Did it really? I know they closed the building, but they used to have one near the tip. And I must have gone there last year to get the bottle filled up and used, or maybe it was over 2 years ago. I used to like them in there. They were nice people. Mickey Stevens says they moved to Portland Road, but that's closed. Yeah, I did notice that the Portland Road one had closed. That was a right old shame. Mike Dixon says people were looking round the vacant store yesterday with the estate agent, so it might be reoccupied very soon.
Yeah, it could become a load of flats or something.
Yeah, nice. Well, no, it's on the industrial estate.
That won't stop them, will it?
Right almost opposite the tip. I mean, that's a great place to live, the tip, if you're into hoarding. Because you could go over the tip and get some more stuff, couldn't you?
Plenty of fridges there.
Yeah, loads. If you like fridges, that's a very nice thing to do. Patrick Rose says, "Excuse me a minute. Later, I'm going to go for a pee." So are we, mate. So are we. Nigel Sadler says 800 watts. The cable reel will be warming up nicely. Is the cable reel warming up nicely?
No, it's not. It's okay at the moment.
It's okay.
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, thank you very much. If you see all my fillings suddenly fly out and go down the floor, it's because people might not know this, apart from Mr. Suggett and Nigel Sadler, that when you have electricity coiled up like that, it can generate a magnetic core. And it can actually attract the weight of an elephant. Haven't told you how heavy that elephant is, of course. It may only be an ounce. Very small elephant.
It could be a Lego elephant.
It could be a Lego elephant. Yeah. So that's nice. Now, in today's show, I'm going to spasmodically... There's a word you don't hear very often, and you have to be careful you don't get that mixed up with another word. Spasmodically, ladies and gentlemen, have a look at my book here that I've got. It's the story of the British people in pictures. I thought that was quite nice on Brexit Day, just to have a little delve into the wonders that we have been in history, and just give you, a little bit of a history lesson at the same time. It's going to be fun. It's not jingoistic. We've got the jingos coming shortly. So I'm going to.
Where are they going to fit?
I don't know. We've got. They're apparently a hillbilly dance routine.
Oh really?
The jingos, yeah, they come in and they dance on hillbilly goats.
Okay.
Billy Gruff goats, I think they are. So that's all. Let's just have a quick update on the webcam there. We've got.
It's frothy, man.
Throthy. Is it supposed to go throthy?
That's just the water in the peas.
Oh, that's just the water in the peas. Of course,
Yeah.
what else could it be? There's only water and peas
Peas
in
in
there,
there, yeah.
fathead. Right, so I'm going to do a quick bit of history here. Do you know history?
I know a bit of history.
Right, we'll test you a little bit of history then, Mr. Here we go. I'll show you the picture and then I can read out the thing. Okay, so here we go. This is a lovely old book. I love my old books. So this is King Alfred and the Great Danish Camp. Many stories have grown up about the name of King Alfred, King of the West Saxons. Legend tells us that while hiding from the Danes, he dreamt that Saint Cuthbert promised to look after him. Encouraged by this, he visited the Danish camp disguised as a minstrel and overheard their secrets. In AD 878, the Battle of Ettendoon was fought, which resulted in a great victory for Alfred over the Danish leader Gruthrum, or Grunthrum, or something. At the Treaty of Wedmore, which followed, the Danish leader agreed that he and his followers would be baptized and retire to the Dane law. There, the Danes became acknowledged masters of the northeastern England, while Alfred remained in the south, including Wessex, the upper part of the Thames Valley, the Valley of the Severn, Mersey and Dee, and London. Alfred governed his kingdom wisely, and there was peace for the rest of his reign. And I probably you might have to get you to hold that, because I probably was waggling. I was so busy reading. I hope you saw the picture, and it was a nice picture. A little bit of history on the Brexit show there about the Danes and King Alfred, who defeated them and said, "You're a naughty boy."
Yeah.
Cool. You can smell the aroma of the marrow fat peas coming off there.
Told you we could smell peas.
Yeah. I thought it was your feet. So there we are. So now let's have a look to see what Peter May says. Grab one of the peas, loads of garlic, butter,
Wax some mint in.
wax and mint in, yeah.
I did plan on bringing some mint, but it's not quite ready at this time of year.
Is mint not available all year round?
It dies back in the winter.
Oh, does it? The executive producer says, what will happen first? Fuse box blow or cable melts?
Neither. I'm keeping an eye on it, so it's all in hand.
Yes, if you see any smoke rising, let us know. David Stacey, that man just snorted like a pig.
I did, yes, sorry. I laughed and...
Snorted down the thing. Spectrum is green. Try mashing the peas to make them mushy. Great with fish and chips. That's an interesting thought there. Pea update. Yes, they're still cooking. Thanks very much. Great. Now, I want to show you something. I was working on this today. It is Brexit Day, and one of the things I think is important to mark the Brexit Day, I know that... Hello. Sorry, National Complaints line here. Dear Richard, you've now managed to mention Brexit 4 times in the show with this email as well. Please do not mention it ever again, or we'll come round and shove it up your... Well, anyway...
That's nice, isn't it?
It is nice. I know that some people are upset that we are leaving the EU. We're not leaving Europe.
No, well, we're going to get a giant chainsaw and cut ourselves away.
That's what I don't quite understand, is that people are a bit, it's not like we're not going to go over. I mean, I haven't been to France for a long time, and I haven't been to Germany for a long time, and I haven't been to Spain or Portugal for a long time, or Belgium for a long time. They're about the only places in Europe that I've actually been to. But they're lovely. They're lovely. I've got, I like Europe. I'm not keen to be in the EU as such, and I'm pleased that we're leaving. But I know that a lot of people aren't pleased, and we're not trying to rub it in people's faces but the decision is made, and we are where we are, aren't we?
We are, yeah. And whether you like it or not, it is happening today, 11 o'clock. And... if you don't like it, if you're going to try your best to stop it being a success, you're just going to cut your nose off in spite of your face.
I think that's very true. That we have to move forward, and a lot of the people who were on the other side of the coin, the Remainers, have also accepted that it's going to happen, and that we've got to get onto the party. If we're going to make any success, we've got to look forward, and. That's really what it was. Now, I wanted to play in just a little... I mean, it was a bit patriotic, but I've been told I can't use the music. Did I say this at the beginning?
You
of the
did,
show?
yes. Yeah,
because Facebook and YouTube would just, cut me off. But I want to play, so I haven't got any music to play in it, and I don't want it to be completely silent. So
you can sing.
Yes, I can sing. I don't know the words. That's the trouble. And I ought to know the words. I'd be interested to know how many other people I could go and get the lyrics and shove them up on the thing and sing it. But then I do know the tune. So what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play it, but we're going to talk over it. I'm going to talk to Mr. Suggett about it, and I'll try and explain what it was I was trying to do. I had a conversation with the lovely Julia today, actually. She came over for lunch, and she said to me, "You're a very literal man." And I said, "Yes, I am. I take things very black and white."
Yeah.
Whereas the lovely Julia can see things in the abstract. We were discussing, do you know that song, Windmills in Your Mind?
No.
Like a such and such a da 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 dum dee 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 dee. Do you know that one? Well, we were discussing that one, and it's all about circles. And I just said, "Oh, that's interesting." I mean, it's a lovely tune, and I love the words, but I'm not very good on the abstract. Like poems. Are you good with poems?
No.
I never understand a poem. I never. No. They seem to hide the meaning of the poem with dressing it up with all these words, and I just think you're sad because someone's died, or your lover's tiffed you, or the moon looks great, but you've tarted up in all these words, so I don't really know what your meaning is. What are you saying to me? Now, of course, there's loads of people who love poems, and well done to them for knowing, but I just sort of think, get to the point, man.
Well, shall I tell you what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
Is it art?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing. Is it art?
Is it art?
Constable, to me. Turner, yes. I can see the skill. I can see what it is. But funny little boxes organised in a abstract way. It's like, is that art? Anybody could do it.
If you've got to explain what the meaning behind it is, I feel there's something wrong with it. Something missing, yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to play my little piece of video, and we're going to talk over it, and I'll explain what it's supposed to be about, because I was trying...
So I turned it down.
I was trying a little bit of the abstract, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Hang on. Where is it? Here it is. So we've got the British flag hit. Now, there was music. The music was going to be... this was going to be the opening thing. It was going to have Rule Britannia. Because I figured that it's patriotic. We did rule the waves for a while. I don't know whether we still do now. But we'll never be slaves, they said. And I wanted just to commemorate, for at the moment, the things that I've done with the Bald Explorer. I know this is the Vobes show. We haven't done much with the Vobes show. And also the fact that it is about Britain and the people that I've worked with, the lovely people that I've worked with. So there's lovely Julia when she was pregnant, about to give birth to little Joseph. I have to say all the footage is from an old hard drive, so this is why it's a bit dated. The lovely Mark English there, as you can see, and Kevin Hall, who I do a lot of videos with. These are lovely people that I work with. I'm very proud to have worked with them. Julia again, and Cynthia Julian was there. Dave Ford, the lovely Dave Ford, and Logan. I think it was Logan he brought with him when we were away. This was Sebastian Anstrather. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He took me round a historic barn. I wanted a mill. And so this was John Mays, who we did the Duncton videos with. He was very interested in the heritage of Britain and his village in particular. This is my son Billy. Billy and I went to the Cheddar Gorge, and Billy was showing me around, and he encouraged me to take a leap of faith and come into this deep, dark cave. The lovely Lara, who is a fairly recent member of the team. There's me in a village that his name just escapes me. I don't know who that bloke was.
God, that's some weirdo, isn't it?
That is a weirdo. The lovely Robert Croser and Julia. We went up to Cumbria and worked with him. He was fantastic. This is somewhere else, and there was Dean Cooper and the lovely Julia, and that was it. And it was just to sort of celebrate the wonderful people who were who I'd worked with. It wasn't supposed to be anything other than that and rubbing noses, but I did have a couple of complaints, quite a few complaints actually. And you just think you can't always,
Get what you want.
well, isn't that? You just can't please everybody all of the time. And I hope those people who weren't thinking that I was somehow rubbing their noses in it. I mean, we're just leaving a union. It's like you get divorced.
Yeah, I think that's a very good analogy. Getting divorced.
So we've been divorced, haven't we?
I haven't. No.
No?
No, not yet.
Well, I haven't proposed to you yet.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm still waiting.
Still waiting
for
the
that
proposal.
ring.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me take this one off.
So how is
We are nearly there with these.
We're nearly there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment we've been waiting for. It's time, just whilst we're nearly there, I'm going to let you read some of the comments in a minute, but I'm just going to do another bit of the ad hoc history in my... I have picked these history things at random. They're not in any clever way trying to make Brexit in anything other than what it is. So the next one that I came up with is this one here. And this is the invention of printing. A most important event in this period, whatever period it was, it doesn't say, was the printing press into England by William Caxton. The invention, more than any other, served to break down the privilege of learning which had been available only to the few. Books made by hand by the monks and scholars could be produced only in small numbers, but now machinery could make learning available to the masses. Education granted by this means, let's move that out so you can see a bit more of it, gained by this means assisted political understanding of the people, making it possible for the latter rise of democracy. That just so happens to be a quirk that I didn't expect that was in there, but there we are. So thanks to the printing press, another bit of history that we British should be proud of.
A part of your history as well, isn't it, printing?
There was the first job I did when I left school, went into printing, which is communication. And look at me now, miscommunicating all over the place.
Well, as an added extra bit of my history, because my grandfather, who I get my gardening green fingers from.
Oh, hang on, take the cotton
There we go, yeah. It's gone quiet now.
So now the noise is finished, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. He ran his own printing business.
Did he?
In West Chilternton, yeah. Ran it in a chapel.
What, in the chapel?
In the chapel,
well,
yeah.
There we are, you see. Just goes to show you. So what have we got? Let's go have a quick look at some of the comments. So just scroll back and get some of the comments here. King Alfred, start with that. Patrick Rose.
Oh, sorry, yeah. King Alfred didn't cook peas. He made cakes.
Oh, yes, that's very true. He didn't. And then he burnt them. He would have been better off with peas. Can you burn peas?
I think you can burn anything. Yeah. That's why I've just turned this off, just to make sure I didn't burn them.
Oh, right, good. Tanya Allison says that Bake Off. Julia Hartley says, here's to the peas on earth. Very good. Love that, Julia. Ian McEwen says, Ian McLaughlin, isn't it?
I can't say Ian McGorgan.
Oh, Ian McGorgan. Ian the Gorgon. That's nice, isn't it? Sorry, Ian. Got any mint? Oh, yes, we did mention that. Richard was the text from my husband, Keith. Richard, was that text from my husband, Keith?
Oh,
Keith,
the text that you got on your phone.
Oh, was it? Let me have a look. No, I think it might have been an email. Oh, wait, is your husband, Keith, likely to have sent that kind of a message? That's probably what it is. I don't know who that was anyway. No. I've lost it now. Message deleted. Well done, Richard. Onwards and upwards. Oh, that's marvellous. Yep. Jonathan Belusi. Apparently, we are leaving the EU tomorrow morning. What? The anchors go up at 8 a.m. and we will be docking off the side of Greenland on Sunday afternoon before making our way south to the Caribbean. Well, that's not something I voted for.
I quite like the Caribbean, though.
Do you?
Yeah. I went there on a honeymoon a couple of years back.
But what about all the lovely history that's here?
We're taking it with us.
Are we? Oh,
yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sunbathing down at Stonehenge. That you could get on the top. You can imagine people... Well, of course, the Germans would get there first, wouldn't they? Because they'd put their towels on and reserve spaces. But I was thinking on the plinths on Stonehenge. Mind you, in the Caribbean, they wouldn't be able to. Executive producer, Windmills of Your Mind, Noel Harrison, 1968. Thank you very much. Julia knows a lot of music. She's a good singer. That's very true, David. I thought it was brilliant, Richard. Nice video. Thank you very much. Nice editing in your video, says Patrick Rose. Mark Donny McLeod says, oh, Monsieur le Saget. The Dutch now have said they want to follow the UK and leave the European Union. Well, I do think that it is going to break up.
I think so too.
I do think it is going to break. We'll pontificate a bit more on that. But first, what are we going to do with the peas?
Well, the peas are now cooked.
Yes.
And I need to give them a really good hard stir to get them nice and mushy. So if you want to bring the camera up, you can see they are starting to go nice and mushy.
So you don't need to mush them with like you do with mashed potato.
No, because these have been boiling, they've absorbed all that water.
Right.
And that's made them mushy.
Oh, marvellous.
And that is...
And did you add salt?
I did add a bit of salt, yes.
Lovely, because it's nice with a bit of salt.
I might have to add a bit more, we'll find out. But yeah, let's add a bit more salt. But I would say these are ready.
So we're just going to have mushy peas on their own. Is that the idea?
No, of course not.
Oh, what would go with mush? I mean, a lot of people have made different suggestions out there. In fact, most of the suggestions are very similar.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that might be.
Shall I move?
Yeah, we can move this. If I do that, can you grab it from below? The Sugget is now disappearing under the table.
There we go.
And luckily the coil of cable
it's not hot at all.
It's not hot at all. But we have heard that most of Worthing, where we're broadcasting, has now gone down. We've blown up a power station, apparently. So that's all right. D for Bricks has arrived. D for Bricks, here is a warning for you. Please do not spam the chat room because you will be thrown out. You have been warned. Donny McLeod says, aye, mushy peas, that, lads. Proper. Aye, lad.
Aye.
So, Ian McThingy says, I'm not going to tell you how to pronounce our name, as I don't want to make your life too easy. No, thanks.
Fair enough.
By the way, two O's in too easy. In the word two. 2 zeros.
You're pedantic.
Well, I'm just saying, he won't tell me how to pronounce it. Could you give us a sounds like? If you could give us, your name sounds like, then we might have a chance. John Berger popped into the stream to see peas being mushed. Yes, this is what Brexit does to you. This is what we're now left on. And Ernie Summit says, Richard, I've got what you're trying to achieve in your Brexit video. Thank you. It was brilliant. Maybe play Elgar in the background and see what YouTube does. Yes, a good old Elgar. I like Elgar. Do you like Elgar?
I can't say I know what
Nimrod.
it is.
That was a good one. I think that's at HMS, isn't it, now? But anyway, or is it an extra set? So we got the mushy peas. You've got
mushy peas.
Stop me talking about the...
Well, here's what I prepared earlier.
Right, okay. This is something that you have cooked. Whoa. Fish and chips. What a lovely bag.
It is, isn't it?
Made in the 1860s, it says here. Should we have a look at... It smells delish.
Yeah, well, it's from my favourite fish and chip shop.
Oh, I was going to say it's from your allotment.
Oh, no, of course it is from my allotment.
Shall I open up one of these?
Yeah, that one's yours.
That one's mine. Well, and that massive one...
The massive one is mine.
Look at that. And this...
is your chef's hat.
Is the chef's... It's gone. It's gone, ladies and gentlemen. It's gone for a burton. So we're going to have mushy peas... Thank you. Yeah. And there we are. A vast improvement. I can hear you saying it. I had mushy peas with tea with fish and chips, as you do up north. How lovely is that?
Well, we're down south and we're having mushy pea with fish and chips.
So we got fish and chips, but I don't like fish.
Oh.
I don't eat fish. Are you got fish?
I've got fish.
Let's have a look. What kind of fish have you got? Let me have a guess. Is it plaice?
No.
Is it squid?
No.
Is it bream?
No.
Is it pike?
No.
Is it blue whale?
No.
Is it covered in batter?
It is, yes.
How do you know what it is then?
you have to trust the fisherman.
Trust the fish. You don't get it. What? Are you telling me that the fishermen stand there by the great big bubbling oil and fish out whatever happens to be swimming inside the oil?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wondered how they got it.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. So what have I got then? Oh, I have, ladies and gentlemen, I have a very lovely large sausage, and I'm not boasting either. Look at that. Oh, yummy, yummy in my tummy. And let's have a look at what you've got. Wait, you've got more than me. What's that funny-looking penis on the top of that?
It's a battered sausage
Oh,
as well.
it's a battered...
I've been on a diet for the last month, so I
Yes.
thought I'd push myself
He's
out
been
tonight.
taking the odd pills there, I think. So, we're going to be... Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a very traditional British... British? English? British.
It says a British classic on the bag.
Yes, there we go. British classic on the brag. Fish and chips, ladies and gentlemen. It's one... You know when you try to think... When you go down the high street... It's not going to change, is it? You're still going to see Chinese, Indian, what are the ones that they have? The kebab thing, whatever that is. What nationality is it? Turkish. The Spanish tapas.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you get? And you don't, but you don't get an English down the street, do you?
Not really, no. I mean, you get Italian, you get
Italian,
French in some places. Lebanese is popping up quite often now.
Oh yeah, I like lemons.
Lebanese.
Oh, Lebanese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like lemonade?
No.
Lebanese, and what is the national dish for Lebanese?
I have no idea. I've never eaten in a Lebanon.
You've never eaten in a Lebanese. You haven't. Yeah, so, none of that's going to change just because we've left the union, is it? We're still going to get international stuff. But it was nice to have a little bit of fish and chips. Now, we did bring in the studio, because we did have an inkling, a little bit of vinegar, malt vinegar.
I've already added salt and vinegar to these. So.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
But you probably want more.
I always want more. I can't even open. Can you open that? I'm not very clever.
No, I've quickly sampled the mushy peas just to make sure they were okay.
Yeah, and you haven't lost colour.
I'm still here.
You are still here and upright.
Something's actually worked for once.
Oh, right. Well, that's smart. Do you want some more?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course you do.
well.
Could I have some more salt? Because it's very important to get your salt levels up, apparently. The national audit for assaulting people has just been risen. I was going to get some drinks in. I thought a bit of lager. That Corona lager is quite popular at the moment, but not in China, so it would seem. But then I always put it in a glass, so it's slightly different. Yeah, the jokes don't get any better, folks.
I did think about some dandelion and burdock, but I didn't have time to give up some.
No, don't worry about the dandelion and burdock. I'm full up enough with all of this and these Greek. And do you grow your own dandelion and burdock?
I've grown plenty of dandelions.
Is burdock a weed?
It is, yeah. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, you know the weeds that sort of stick to you when you walk through?
That's delicious. I have to say, that is delicious.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
That is really, really...
Would be better with some mint.
Would it?
Yeah.
What about a bit of butter in there or anything like
Could
that?
help. Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. I think it's nice as it is. We didn't bring any knives and forks, ladies and gentlemen. But I can tell you, that is nice. I've had marrow fat peas and they've had a funny taste to them.
Probably wasn't rinsed well enough.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And can you buy mushy peas, the peas that you then put in water and do yourself?
Yeah, you can, because you can actually use those to grow your own as well.
How difficult is it to grow mushy peas?
Not that difficult. If you can grow peas, they like a lot of water in the beginning, once they're establishing, then once they're growing and start to put on their peas, then you don't need to do so much.
Do they... It's very phallic, this, isn't it? Do they... Do what was the question?
I have no idea.
Do they need a lot of sunshine?
Yeah, I mean, they can grow in shady conditions, so like most peas.
Could I grow them in my back garden?
Yeah, you could, quite easily. Trying to be quiet, are you?
No, I wasn't so much being quiet. I didn't want them to see my gob going round and round and round. Apparently, according to Mike Dixon, the national dish in the UK is still curry. How do you pronounce that? Naz restaurant in Lancing serves delicious Indian... How can it can be a national dish, but it can't be an English dish or a British dish, can it?
Chicken tikka masala was invented in England.
I'll take that back. Apparently it can. But could the Indians add something to fish and chips and then make that a national dish?
Could add some curry powder or something, I suppose.
Yeah, if you had them, if the batter, say you put some sort of curry-fied stuff on the batter, and then it went mad in India, would that then make it a national? What makes it a national dish? Just because a lot of people are famous. I mean, he's put a capital N there, the national dish, as if it's as if somebody has branch stamped it.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few national dishes of England, of Britain. So, fish and chips is one, roast dinner is another.
Roast has been on a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Chicken and turkey and those sort of. I mean, from the Tudor period, it must be surely.
Well, that's what used to be what people would save up their money for to eat at the weekend for the meat, and be the only piece of meat they would be able to eat.
I mean, we have to remember that we are so lucky in this time at the moment. This is the luckiest time to be coming out of a union. I mean, to be alive, because as much as the supermarkets are the lazy man's way of going about stuff, and I do have an issue with them to a degree, but we are where we are, sort of thing. But you think back to the poor peasants and the poorer people. I mean, you had to be quite well off to have a proper rounded diet, didn't you?
Well, back then people used to grow their own a lot more because that's the only way they could survive.
Yes.
And so in some ways they may have eaten better than what we eat now. They may not have had as much available to them because they had to survive the winter when not much grew.
They didn't have TV dinners.
They didn't have TV dinners.
They wouldn't have had so much sugar.
No, apart from fruit. Naturally occurring sugar.
Naturally occurring, and not in huge numbers. The sugar content. I mean, I know you get sugar in apples and pears.
Get sugar in quite a few things as well, even in meat or peas are quite high in sugar as well.
Mark Donny McLeod says there's no such thing as weeds, only herbs. Plants you don't recognise and don't fit into your garden design. That sounds fair. I'm sorry about us pigging out on the show, by the way.
We're celebrating.
We're celebrating. I mean, we could be sitting here with English sparkling wine. But we're not. What's the pity?
Talking like we said with tikka masala being invented in England earlier, champagne or sparkling wine was also invented in England.
Champagne couldn't have been.
Well, sparkling wine, which was the predecessor to champagne.
Oh, was it invented in England?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Huh? By the Romans?
No, I don't think it was. Well, I don't know on that. On the timescales.
Because the Romans had vineyards, didn't they?
They had vineyards and they made wine. Whether they made sparkling wine, I don't know. But I know it was the English that figured out how to pop the fizz into wine.
I usually put a couple of Alka-Seltzers.
Well, that helps.
And that makes it fizz, isn't it? Some sort of frolic acid, or not frolic acid. Some acid. Not sulfuric acid that the... John George Haig used to use back in the day when he took people into a bath and murdered them. Not then. Nigel Sadler says you can make coffee substitute from roasted dandelion roots.
It's not very nice, though.
Quite nice, he says, when you get used to it. It's that when you get used to it bit that is the hard bit to swallow. Patrick Rose, you'll have to have your other eye out with that sausage. Yes, it's gone now, so have no fear. Where are your serviettes, says Barbara Childs. Well, that's a French word, so we can't have them in today's show. If you'd said, where are your napkins, that would have been different. Mark John says, true, Mr. So is waving one. Chow mein was from San Francisco, not China.
Yeah.
What about chili con carne? I had a Mexican listener when I used to do the Vobes Show podcast. He came over and he told me what a chili con carne was over there. Completely different dish.
What was different about it?
Well, it was grey.
Okay.
The Mexicans, theirs is just like this, mashed up. It was more like this, but grey.
Right. Okay.
Whereas we're using minced beef and all these onions and whatever else you shove into your chili con carne. So it seems to me that whatever culture you go to, just change it a bit to make it more palatable to them.
Stu, there's a lot of Mexican restaurants as well on the high street, isn't there?
There is.
And Brazilian.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. None of that's going to change. And we're very embracing in this country to have everybody's different parts of the world's a bit of cooking. So, Linda Kane says, we're taking over from the French with our sparkling wine versus champagne. Oh, that's that's encouraging.
Yeah, I read that as well.
On Tuesday's video from the Bald Explorer, Mark English and I walk past Denby's vineyard. And for those that don't know, it's in Dorking near Box Hill. And they've got quite a lot. They're quite well known in the south as being a relatively large vineyard. And I think they do sparkling wine there. And they've been going for donkey's years. I don't know how old that donkey is, but he's been going along for a while. Mickey Stevens says, I think Balti was invented in the West Midlands.
Sounds right as well, yeah.
Steak and kidney pie, that's an English thing, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
You'll be telling me next that was invented by Eskimos.
I don't know on that one.
What about shepherd's pie?
Well, that is a British dish, as is cottage pie.
Now, you probably know the difference
Yes.
between cottage pie and the other one. What was the other one?
Shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie, thank you. And whilst I eat this massive, great lump of very hot, whatever it is, you're going to tell us.
Well, cottage pie is made from beef. Shepherd's pie is made from lamb. As simple as that.
Yeah, and you can work that. You can always remember that because a shepherd always herds cows.
Yeah.
No.
We'll go with that.
It's the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
A shepherd always lives in a cottage. Anyway.
Shepherd's hut.
I've actually I've had a bath in a shepherd's hut. I'll leave it there. Chili con carne is more Mexican than Mexican meat was offal, and the other ingredients added to disguise the origin of the meat. Yes, I'm not at all surprised, because that's what they used to do with the spices, isn't it? Because the meat could be quite disgusting or off. Dave Ford wants to know, what have you got for pudding?
I didn't actually have anything for pudding. Could have done banoffee pie.
Denby's make remarkable wine, says Andrew Norris.
Yeah, I don't drink wine, so I'll have to take your word on that.
Tanya, those chips must be cold by now. I'll let you into a secret, Paul. They were cold when they came out the bag. We're pretending. It's acting. God, so hot.
They were hot when they
came out the shop. He went to the fish and chip shop at 1 o'clock this afternoon. These are actually plastic chips. They're made from reconstituted things. Tanya says that the signs you see in the high street for Brazilian aren't restaurants.
Very clever.
What are they then if they're not restaurants?
Is this a family show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
What do
better
you
not say them.
I don't know what you mean. For Brazilian food?
No.
Oh, hang on, the penny has dropped now.
Yeah.
Took a moment there. I was thinking, I had this image that people were going in and eating, but they're not restaurants. I thought, well, what would you call cafe? Caf? It's funny how some people call a cafe a caf. What do you call it?
Caf.
Caf.
Yeah.
As opposed to a cafe.
Yeah.
Because it's originally a French word, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't speak French. I speak English, so
it becomes a caf. Or what would be an English version of caf then? Tea shop? No.
Coffee house? Coffee
Food
shop?
stop?
I don't know.
Jeff is out there and is a lorry driver. What do you call truck stops, I suppose you call them, in America? Do you have cafes? So now you put it like that, it sounds very effeminate, doesn't it? Affected. What's the word I'm looking for? Not effeminate, but very effete. Very effete.
Delicate.
Delicate. There's a word. Apparently, Denbigh started in 1986. Thanks, Linda. Poor innocent Richard. Yeah. That was a close shave, says Patrick Rose. Oh, yeah.
You get it now, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got it now. Mark Donnelly McLeod is saying Brazilian, a personal topiary. I don't actually know what the Brazil... Is it... What is the Brazil... I mean, I know that you're topiarying a certain area, but what is it you do? What do they do to it? They trim it in a certain way, or do they take it completely off?
I think they trim it in a certain way. I could be wrong, but...
Is it? It's not in the shape of a bee or anything like that, is it?
No.
No. That's what I would... With greasy spoon, says. There we are, the greasy spoon. Which is weird. Why would you call a place like... I know exactly what you mean, but why would you call it a greasy spoon when the food that you're likely to eat that's greasy, you would be eating with a knife and fork? The spoon bit, like the coffee or tea, is the least likely bits that would be greasy. So why is it known as a greasy spoon? I mean, it comes off the tongue very easily. Not the grease, the word. Isn't that weird? The English language. I love the English language because it has those sort of weird anomalies. Anomalies.
Weird things.
Truck stop cafes are greasy spoons in the UK, says Andrew. Yeah. Mike Dixon. After 11 p.m, will all the cafes in the UK have to become tea rooms or coffee houses?
No, nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change.
I'm going to change. I'm going to wear something. I'm going to get my pinstripe suit out and my bowler hat, don't you know? Audrey Forbes says, ye oldie tea shop. And of course, that's an acronym in itself, isn't it? Because nobody actually, in the old days, they may have spelt it with an E, but they never pronounced it ye old E. But the E was not pronounced. I used to know
that.
Did you not know that?
No.
No, I used to know this bloke who was 450 years old, and he told me.
Really?
He's dead now. He had a slight accident with a gorilla. But no, you don't. It's just old. You don't pronounce the E.
There you go. Learn something new every day.
Ye oldie. It's just that people do that because they're ignorant. Spoons can be very dirty, says Dave Ford. Yes, but why would they be greasy? That is the fundamental thing. If we could answer that, we could have stayed in the EU. Brazilian is all off, I thought, says lovely Julia. Oh, is it? It's all off.
I didn't think it was all off.
Cheryl Craggs, because you can also get a cuppa at the greasy spoon. Yes, but I'm just thinking boiling water would... I know I'm thinking about this too hard, I realise that. But boiling water would actually disperse the grease, wouldn't it?
What was it you said, Julia said to you? You're too literal?
I'm too literal.
I think we've got a case in point here.
Oh, I know I am. I'm not on the spectrum, though.
No.
The one who is not here, luckily. I've always wondered about the derivation of the derivation of greasy spoon is. I've always wondered what the is ...
We'll have to find out. There's a book out there that you can find these sort of things.
Well, there's something called Google, I'm sure you can
Google
find.
will probably tell you, yeah.
There are other search engines. Here's a question. Does anybody else use a different search engine other than the one I just mentioned, whose name doesn't need any more thing, that's become a literal... Not a literal. It's become a verb in its own right. Yeah,
I do. I use Bing.
Do you?
Accidentally, yeah. Purely
Accidentally?
Because... Yeah, well, my computer, when I first turned it on, it was set to Bing, and I just haven't changed it back to Google. Laziness.
I'm waiting for them to finish at the Houses of Parliament on that very tall building at the end, so that I can use Bong. But they're just rebuilding the website at the moment. Dave Ford says you don't pronounce the E in Vobes. Sort of. Well, yes. Well, no, you don't. But you don't say Vobes, do you?
Exactly what I was going to say there.
There is a place called Vobing, but they pronounce it Vobbing. And it's up in, I think it's in Hertfordshire, Herefordshire, somewhere up there. I've been there and I took a picture of it. It's called Vobing, but they call it Vobbing. I call it Vobing. Ian says, as a gardener, I always say prune your bush for your madam. I think that's a very polite way of saying it. Duck, duck, go, says Jeff Callison. Is that what you call a trucking stop? Is that what he's talking about?
Or choke and fuke.
Cheryl Craggs says we're on the same wavelength. Is that about the Brazilian strip? Is that what it called? Brazilian strip?
I think that's more of a
that came off the
better
tongue.
description for it, yes.
Brazilian strip. You know, I always thought that was something to do with an airport. Audrey Forbes, occasionally Safari. Oh, that's a web browser, isn't it? Is that an Apple one?
Yeah.
What choice do Apple people have? Do they have Google as well?
Yeah. Mine's set on Google.
Are you an Apple man?
I'm an Apple man, yeah.
I didn't realise you were an Apple man.
Well, it goes with a veg grower, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose that's very true, yeah. You are growing some apples at the moment. What variety of apples are you growing?
I've got several apple trees, so I've got the one I'm currently or just moved is a Bramley apple tree.
Right.
That's what the label said, but the fruit produced is not a Bramley apple. I've got a family apple tree. I don't quite know what.
Right.
The variety is called Family. I've got a variety called Sunset at home, which is a good all-rounder. I've got a variety...
Wait. I can do Sunset at home. Watch. It's more like the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Then I've got my cider apple tree, which is called Kingston Black.
What can you say to that? Kingston Black. That sounds like a pirate's name, doesn't it? Kingston Black here. Ho, ho, ho. Time for another bit of history, ladies and gentlemen. At 8:58. Oh, blimey, quick. I was going to do a bit more of this history, but, you know, it's obviously very boring. So, I'll do a very short one. Wait a minute, what's this? Well, I'll do this at random. This is even better than what I thought. Look at this.
Oh, my God.
Yes, it's outrage. Oh, no, that's me. Wait. What do you suppose is going on there? I'm going to get you to guess. What do you suppose is going on in that photo there? And then I will reveal all. It's much better, actually, to have... I wish I'd thought of that to the beginning. Show you the picture and get you guess what piece of history that is. And then, you know, if you didn't know... That was very nice, by the way. What do you suppose that was? You know the answer, because you can read it. No, I'm asking them.
Well.
DuckDuckGo is an alternative search engine. Oh, right. Thanks, John Berger. There was I thinking it was a...
Not John... Oh.
A truck stop. Duck. All right, Ducky, what do you want? I'd like a nice greasy spoon with my eggs turnover, please. Jeff Kellison, it's a search engine. Thank you very much. Andrew Murphy. Hello, Andrew. He says, I have bangers and mash for my dinners, a true British classic. Well, that's true. We could have had that. Bangers and mash.
I did think of that, but...
John Belusic says, I use a search engine, Blackie. It's good, but it has energy-saving black background instead of white. Do you use that on the dark web? Just thought I'd ask. Dave Ford says, wife carrying competition. Oh, yes. Is it a wife carrying competition? You know that wife selling was a thing. I've got a book about it on my... I've got a book about everything. I've got a book about wife selling. If anyone wants the tip. And incidentally, I no longer have a wife. I didn't sell her, though. We we got divorced. It was very amicable and agreeable.
I nearly sold my wife once.
Did you?
I was offered 10 camels for her.
10 camels?
10 camels, yeah.
Where was that?
She was in Egypt at the time.
Oh, right. And what did you say?
I wasn't there, so...
No, but what would you have done with the camels?
Kept them in my garden.
What, in your garden? I mean, you could have probably got 2 or 3 in, but 10?
Well, I'll take one to work every day with me. Imagine that, rolling down to Vobes Towers on the back of a camel.
Well, he'd certainly get here quicker than your old van, that would be for sure. David Keel says, is it the Fire of London? That's a good guess. Mike Dixon says, other Europeans jumping free. Love it. No, it's not that. Great. It looks a bit like a blow-up doll in that photo, says Robert Baxter. Let's have a look. Marriott says that use DuckDuckGo. Oh, Vivaldi. Oh, I bet Vivaldi is great. I bet Vivaldi must be marvellous. As you go to search something in, do you get the sort of telephone hold music as it goes around searching for it? Do you know how do the Four Seasons?
I have no idea.
You do. Everybody.
I'm not very cultured, obviously, today.
The Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Vic Vivaldi. He was a great pianist, wasn't he? Vic Vivaldi. Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. Your call is important to us. I don't know why he wrote that in, but halfway through the sonata, you get, please hold the line. Your call is important to us.
It's amazing. He didn't even know what a phone was when it was.
He didn't know. He was just holding something up to his hand,
it was
to his
very
ear.
forward thinking.
He was. Good old Vic Vivaldi. Pudding Lane, says Audrey Forbes Hamilton. Forbes Hamilton is almost like Vobes Hamilton, isn't it? I do like that. What else have we got? Other European... Yeah, done that. Is it a picture of an early gynaecologist?
That's not a bad guess,
That's
Dave.
not a bad guess, actually. Let's have another look there. Early gynaecologist, yes. The actual true answer is... The Great Plague struck young and old. There we are. Look, the plague. We'll do one more. I know we're going over time, but Mr. Suggett was late, so...
I'm in no rush.
He's in no rush. Here we go now. Let's have a look.
We could go to 11 and actually see the Brexit in.
Yes, that's very true. Hang on. We're going to try and find... Now, I'm doing this on spec here. I want to find... Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. This is a famous picture. That is a famous picture. Can you name who the people are? I know you can't see them very clearly, but I'm trying not to give it away. That is I've seen that in history books before. Much better, of course. It's a nice big painting. You're singing Bach, not Vivaldi. Oh, yes, of course. Andrew Norris, you're quite right. I was doing the Brandenburg Concerto, wasn't I? Da-da-dum, 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 da-da-dum. Yes, that's right. Stupid. That's the Brandenburg Concerto. I know that. Now you asked me to do the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons. Oh, Christ. I know this.
I haven't got a clue, so I'm staying out of this
music. The Four Seasons. Winter is a nice one. That starts very slowly. Harpsichords, isn't it? Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. That's... Yes, Andrew Norris. He's sitting there angrily going, yeah, you deserve to be bloody leaving the EU. You don't know your European composers.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
What's that?
We don't know don't know the composers.
I've accepted 3 camels for my wife, which I was ripped off.
Could have got 10.
Could have got 10. You're singing it. Brandenburg. Oh, yes, Concerto number 3. That's just what I said. Well, I didn't say the number, but I knew it was one of the Brandenburg. Where is the Brexit in? Charles II. Oh, it isn't. But you're in the right period. Thank you, Andrew Norris. That was bothering me, says Tanya. Yes, that's right. What is the famous one of the Four Seasons? Hang on a minute. I'm just gonna have to get it into my head. The Four Seasons. It's so famous. It is so you all know it. I mean, that was Brandenburg Concerto number 3. That's also very famous. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum. But once you've got that stuck in your head, the Four Seasons. Did I say the Four Seasons?
The Four Seasons, yes.
The Four Seasons.
That's not going to stop the show because you're playing it.
I'm not going to play it that long.
Copyright.
The Four Seasons. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Spring. That's Spring. That is the famous one.
Yeah.
Get that?
The classics.
Bum ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum ba ba bum ba ba bum 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 ba ba bum. Recognise it? Ba ba bum.
I recognise it. Yes.
Your call is very important to us.
Yeah.
Please hold the line. Da, 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 da. Now ask me to sing the Brandenburg concertos and I won't be able to start.
What's the Brandenburg?
I love it. I love it. I love it. King Charles I? No, it's not King Charles I. Think of his illegitimate son. King Charles II's illegitimate son. Then you'll know what it is. King Charles II's illegitimate son. Has anybody said it? No. Conservative 3. The Brexit in. Was it Charles? I get them mixed up. Says Dave 4. Don't mix them up. One lost his head and the other one didn't. What happened to Charles II? He didn't lose his head, did he? He had a son. He died in a quite. Spring is the famous one. Bum 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 bum. Tanya Allison says join in. Yeah, you weren't joining in.
There's a reason for that.
There we are. Patrick Rose. He knows his history. Yes, it was the Duke of Monmouth, of course, the Duke of Monmouth, and there he is in front of James II. Duke of Monmouth is a Protestant, and James II was a Catholic. And the Duke of Monmouth was the illegitimate son of Charles II and had the Battle of Sedgemoor in 1685. And there are rumours that actually he was legitimate, that there was a marriage to Jane Jones, I think it was, with Charles II. But most historians squash that. And he could have been the rightful heir. But it never happened, and he did have his head chopped off.
Didn't you make a video on the Battle of Sedgemoor?
I did go to the Battle of Sedgemoor, and I did make a video there. And I did, in fact, if you go to the Western Zoyland and have a look at their museum there, which is down there in Somerset, you'll see a video there that's on display, which I made, which was about the Duke of Monmouth at night time against the Royalists, see? And then Judge Jeffreys came down and hanged a lot of them, the ones that weren't dead. He hanged them from trees, and he was terrible because he had trouble with a stone. See, he had trouble with a stone, and he was the hanging judge, Judge Jeffreys. Charles I was executed. Charles II was the Merry Monarch. Thank you very much, Barbara Charles. Yes, that's right. James Scott, first Duke of Monmouth. Thank you very much, Mark G. Yes, I have a soft spot for the Duke of Monmouth, actually.
Which one?
It's I can't tell you where it is.
Oh.
What happened to the atheists? Says Mike Dixon. What atheists?
Good question, actually. I like that. Well, if you were an atheist in these religious times, I guess is what he's saying.
Well, that was heresy, wasn't it? You weren't allowed to say if you were an atheist. You had to just go along with it. I mean, this is the weird thing. We can look back at history and those, like with the martyrs who were burned. Can you think of a more painful way to go than being burned at the stake?
Yeah, I think hung, drawn and quartered would be worse.
Well, if you're hung...
Okay, drawn and quartered.
Yeah, but you probably aren't alive by the time they get round to quartering you. I mean, apparently you were alive. They hung you with an inch of your life, and you're sort of so woozy you probably didn't notice.
Well, I thought it was they hung you till you almost died, then they cut you down. You came back round.
I just said that. I just said all that.
Yeah.
I just actually said that using words that came out of my mouth.
Yeah.
According to Horrible Histories on BBC One, here we go. Do you know that BBC had Christopher Columbus, and they had a cartoon, I think, and Christopher Columbus was black. That's the BBC for you, changing history. Not that I've got anything about different races, whatever. But if you're doing a history program, he was a Spaniard, wasn't he? So he might have had a nice tan. He was probably one of those that beat the Germans on the towers on the top of Stonehenge, who was lying there in Barbados getting that nice tan. Remember, that's a reference back to an earlier piece in the show, by the way, in case you didn't notice. Julia says being crushed under a board with weights wouldn't have been too comfy. No, that's very true. Pressed to death, that was called. Pressed to death. And they did that if you didn't answer. So if you didn't plead guilty or not guilty, you were pressed to death.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of bizarre world... I mean, what I was going to say about the being burnt to death, that whole business about being burnt to death, is that if you knew you were going to be burnt to death, wouldn't you just go, oh, all right, then I'll be a Protestant or a Catholic, whichever way around it was. Would you just go along with it and just quietly...
Yeah.
But they were... In those times, they really believed in what they were doing.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Tarred and feathered sounds pretty gruesome too, says Andrew Norris. I think when they were tarred and feathered, they were dead. Because they were hung in chains after... You see, people get that confused. You were hanged at the gallows, and then you were gibbeted. You're already dead. You're tarred and feathered, and you're put in some sort of... What they call chains. It's not really chain. It was hoops. That like the hoops that go around barrels, man-shaped, so that your body wouldn't decompose and fall to bits and fall on the ground too quickly, and they tarred you so that you weren't eaten by the birds too quickly, and the stench would have been pretty horrible. Columbus was from Genoa. Where's Genoa?
Portuguese, apparently.
Portuguese. There you go. That's he was Portuguese, Richard. Oh, there we go. So, okay, I got that wrong. So I listened to the BBC. Going to watch Bournemouth play Saturday is very painful. Play what? Bournemouth, the whole town. What are they playing? Kiddywinks? Kiddywinks? I think that's illegal now. Italian. Oh, wait a minute. Italian. Damn silly tablet. Letters going... Well, if we don't... we have no hope then. We're as ignorant as the next man. And the next man, Linda Kane says Edward II. What was that?
Well, it might be to do with this picture.
Nothing to do with Edward II. It's James II. Yeah. James II, who married William, went to William and Mary. William of Orange, of course, but latterly Vodafone.
But talking of painful ways to go, there was years ago I saw a blog post that was shared about medieval torture methods, and there were some rather painful things in that I saw.
Like what?
Like you were stuck into a metal cow and then a fire set underneath you.
You were stuck in a metal cow?
Yes. That was a Greek punishment, ancient Greek. A fire set underneath you, so
that would heat up. Yeah, you'd be scorched very quickly. I mean, that's horrible.
And the way it was built was your screams turned into like the sound of a cow.
I see.
To the outside.
I can understand. It's funny. I can understand the people who are doing the burning would want to put you in a container so that they could not witness your suffering, because they might, or the people who are with them, the audience watching, might decide not to do it because it would be too much. So therefore you can, and if you could disguise the screams as a cow coming out of a metal cow, I can understand that.
Yeah, and then Linda Kane has just said about, I think Edward II was killed with a red hot poker up his rectum. Thank God we finished eating.
That must have sizzled somewhat. Yes, Edward II, that's right. One of many stories. A hollow metal bull, says Julia Hartley, who is preparing one for the next Vobes show, apparently.
Who's going in?
I think it's me that's going in. Robert Baxter says the thing that Catherine Wheel was named after was pretty nasty too.
Yes. I can't quite remember what that is, but...
It was a wheel.
Called Catherine.
Mike Dixon is talking about witches who survived the ducking stool, were deemed guilty, and those who drowned were innocent. So it was a no-win situation. Well, what happened if you were found guilty then? Were you let off because you've done your ducking?
No, I think then you were burned at the stake. Chances are you probably didn't survive anyway.
Wait a minute. That's the answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can imagine. There you are. You've been told you're a witch. They duck you in the pond. There you go. You survive. Then they take you and burn you at the stake. What happens? You don't get burnt because you're soaking wet. Because remember, water puts out fire. They must have been there with their matches going, has anyone got a Zippo? This isn't working. Obviously, you would want to hope that it was on a wet day, not a sunny day.
We were talking about a duck and stall the other day, weren't we?
Yeah.
In Canterbury, that still exists.
And do people have a go on it?
I don't know on that. I've seen it, but I don't know if it's still in use.
John Berger says tarring and feathering was done while the person was very much alive because it was a form of public humiliation, not execution. There were people who were tarred and feathered twice. I stand corrected. Thank you very much, John Berger. Pedantic bastard. No, but you're probably absolutely quite right. They did tar the corpses and they hung them on the gibbet. But maybe they didn't feather them then. That must have been, the tar must have been quite hot though. It must have been pretty nasty. Yeah. Although, as you put the tar on, it's burning and, what is it, cauterised?
Cools. Yeah, it would cauterised, but it would also cool. So it'd be like splashing hot oil on your skin.
Yeah, not a pleasant thing. Brazen bull torture, very nasty. Yeah. Thank God that we live in good times, ladies and gentlemen. You know, there may be those people who are a bit upset and they're weeping because we're leaving the Union, but we're not putting them in a Brazilian bull torture chamber and making them fry to death. Thank God for that. Well, we've gone over our time. It's now 9:20. I've got an edit to finish before tomorrow, which is tomorrow's video, funnily enough.
Is there a video tomorrow?
Yeah, you're on it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
You were in the last bit, coming through the door. Yeah. So I think we'll finish. Thank you so much, Mr. Suggett, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, just over an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes until Big Ben isn't going to bong. But we know what will be happening. So for those that are hopeful and looking forward to the future and think it's all great, big thumbs up. For those who are a bit worried, don't be. I think
it's big thumbs up as well. Just get behind it. It's happening.
It's going to be okay. We're all going to survive. We've managed, we've only been in it for 45 years. We managed very well for the 2000 or more so when we weren't in it. And actually, when we weren't in it, we were relied upon for so much in the rest of the world that I think actually it's going to be good for all of us, particularly for millennials. I think it's going to be great. Just before we go then, Whiskers on Kittens and Happy Thoughts. Yes, I like Whiskers on Kittens, although I prefer to have bull horns on kittens, full size. And Mark Johnny MacLeod says, out of those witches taken to Lancashire from the Pendle, some were hung, most died from the prison conditions, yes, or from being whipped. But there were still witches here. Up your King James. Yes, get right up him. Until Monday's show, unless I've been lynched, hopefully there'll be a show on Monday, so do join me then. Thank you very much, Mr. Suggett, for the fish and chips and the mushy peas.
Mushy peas.
And if you've made mushy peas at home whilst you were watching, well done you. We'll send you the ingredients you need. Peas and water.
Simple as that.
But now you're going to have peas and quiet.
And salt.
And salt. So thank you so much for watching. It's been absolutely lovely. Take care, one and all. Somehow we get out of the show, and I can't always remember how it's possible, but I think we press this button. Thank you for watching. Take care and have a lovely Brexit evening. Until next time, goodbye! We traditionally now blow them away.
Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3.